Oh, hello, and thank you for joining me. I'm Timbo Took, and this is A Joy of Painting Middle-earth, a time when we come together to paint the most fantastic landscapes Middle-earth has to offer, and maybe we'll paint a scary one a time or two. That can be quite fun, you know. Now, I may not be the best painter in the Shire, but I do love it so, and I'd love for you to paint right along with me. So if you're ready, grab your paints and your brushes, and let's go on an adventure. All right, here we go. I'm sorry I'm a little late this week, but things happen, you know. So we've got a black canvas here today, and we're going to do a painting from a story that not many of you have heard before. Some of us, this is quite new to us as well, maybe even the professor himself. But there was an article that came out about a show they're doing called Rings of Power on Amazon. And they had some new images from it, and they had one that had a tree. They put it out this week. It had this big, beautiful tree, and I thought, oh, while other people are arguing about things, you know, like when they argue over the ring, back and forth and back and forth, and I just see the tree, and I think, oh, that's a beautiful tree. Let's paint it. So let's go. We've got our canvas here. It's prepared. We've put down that liquid clear that the blue wizard taught us how to do. That's right. Bob Ross the Blue used to come to the Shire once a week when I was just a boy, and he taught us all how to paint. So that's what we've done. Let's go. We've got our colors here. Now this is maybe an early morning. I'm not sure what the scene is. Oh, it's two characters I've not seen before. I don't think many have, but they're sitting on a wall and they're talking. They're just talking away. And I had a black canvas. I probably should do a white canvas for this one, but I didn't have it. So I'm just going into some of that yellow, some of that titanium white, that cadmium yellow. We're just going to do this golden dawn sky, load it up on the brush, and we're going to come up here and we're just going to bring it right over this way. So here we go. And this is just going to be faded off into the back. Our sky isn't a big part of the story today. It's mostly that tree we have back there. There we go. Just bring it down. Bring it into your canvas. And it may look like there's some clouds in the sky there. That's okay. These details, we're just putting it in. Just putting it in, and we'll do a big tree right in front. So this will all fade into the background. There we go. Just using those crisscross strokes as we do. Just kind of putting that on there. No real rhyme or reason or pattern here, that's right. But it is another beautiful landscape in Middle-earth. One I don't know much about. I do not know much about, and I don't know that there's many people out there that do. Lots of people like to say they know what they're talking about, but it's all just conjecture. That's a fun word, conjecture. Just guessing, making best guesses. Some people are angry because, oh, the story might not be told the way they're used to it being told. May have different characters than they're used to. But, you know, there's always the words that the professor recorded for us. For our history, we can always look back at that. Nothing changes with that. Nothing changes with that. That's right. That's right. And it's just a different way of telling a story. Oh, but sometimes stories get told not quite the way you're used to them being heard. Like my grandpappy Took, sometimes he'd go to the Green Dragon and he'd talk about, oh, how Gandalf sent him to climb up and light the beacon in Minas Tirith to call for aid. Oh, what a silly story. But it's a fun one. I like that story very much. But I also like my grandgaffer Gamgee. He would tell the story, he'd say, oh, Minas Tirith called for aid by sending a rider with an arrow that showed up at Theoden's court. So, you see, there's lots of different ways these stories get told. Oral traditions get handed down year after year. Now, if you want to, you can even come to one of your blender brushes and you can take that and you can just use the blender brush to soften that out. If you think, oh, there's too many brush strokes in there, we'll just soften this out. You can do that too. You can do that too. We won't think about that much though once we put our trees in. And let's go do some of that. So what we're going to have back here, there's our big tree right in front, but we have many trees off in the back, off in the distance in the back. So we're just going to take, we have some, oh, that's midnight black there. We're just going to mix it in right over that spot. This right here. Take some of that, mix it in with that lighter color you had right on there. Just load that up on the brush. And we're going to come here and we're just going to put in some trees. Oh, there's just some trees. And we're just going to tap those in. Those are trees that are off in the distance. Oh, we don't know what's going on with those trees. There's other stories, other conversations, things happening in there. But you just follow that along. These are hills off in the distance that are covered with trees. Now, you might be excited waiting for this story to come from Amazon. You might not be happy about it at all. Oh, no. Oh, no. I just say, people are going to tell stories. They're going to tell them in different ways. Some are going to tell stories that speak to them, some that speak to others. But all in all, I have a love for, the works of Professor Tolkien and how he told the stories of Middle-earth. And I like to go back and read those again and again. Nothing changes that. Nothing changes that. That's right. That's for sure. We just put this right across, just popping that in. That's off in the distance, a little foggy back there. There we go. Maybe those hills go on and on and on. Those hills go on and on and on, just there. Just using that 1-inch brush, we just put the treetops there. There we go. Now maybe we can even come back, we'll just grab a little bit of that white there, that titanium white. Just gonna lighten that up. And you see I put 2 piles of titanium white on there. Sometimes I pollute one, and later on in my painting I want to go back and I want to have some unpolluted white, and I just go right back to that second pile. And we can always put more on if we want. We're just going to drop in some highlights on some of these trees where that morning sun maybe is picking some of that up. And you see, you don't want to kill all your dark areas you have in there, but you just drop in some of that. And right there, it's given some depth to those trees. Just knock that on like that. Just pop it on. It'll get onto the tips of the bristles. And we just create some layers within those trees. See that? Just putting those in. Bring it right back this way. And that's all you got to do when you create that. You create those many trees. Whole forest of trees. Oh, there might even be some sort of ranger back in there. We don't know. Each of these places has their own story. There we are. Maybe we get some closer trees there. Well, we'll still make them a little dark, but as we come forward, we add a little more color, a little more light. As we get closer, the further away it is, the harder to see it is. So we just put that sap green with some of that midnight black. And now we're just going to have this. These trees are closer. We can see a little more color in them. Same way, same technique. We're just popping that in. There we go. Just making layers. Like there's a hill that goes over, and then there's a hill further, and a hill further, and a hill further. Those hills just go on and on and on, like the road. Like the road that goes on and on. Just keep coming back to it. Just tap it on and go back up. And just drop that in. There we go. This is just the background to our story. Oops. I grabbed some of that phthalo green, and I don't think I even meant to put that in, but, oh, we don't make mistakes, as the Blue Wizard would say. We just make happy accidents. So we'll put that in there. Maybe there's some different looking trees over this way. There we go. You see, that just mixes in, and it creates something else going on. Right there. There we are. Now let's just take a little bit of yellow, drop that in there. Just tapping that onto your brush. Come back and tapping that right on those trees there. There's some sun coming. Maybe our brush has got a few too many colors in it, so we want to wash it. So we just wash it in our odorless paint thinner. There we go. And we have a rubbish bin down here. We just beat the Sauron out of it down in the rubbish bin. Oh, Sauron, that's right. Oh, that villain, that villain. Let's just tap out some of this yellow. We can have some of that green in there. We want a little more golden. Dulled down with a little bit of that green, but it's still pretty golden. So we'll come on here, and this is just going to touch the tops of some of these trees. There we go. Right back there, that morning sun. Just touching it off right there. And then as we get down to this side, it gets less and less. Less and less over here. There we go. That way, just using a few of those colors, you're creating all kinds of things going on over here. All kinds of things. There we are. There we go. Now, maybe we want a little bit of haze in there. So we're just going to come, some of this yellow, we cleaned off that brush. Now we're just going to put some of this down here. Lightly, we're just putting it in. There we go. Just bring it across, and we'll take a blender brush and we'll blend some of that out. There we go. And there were some buildings in this picture as well. But we don't know much of what was going on with those. This is just giving us some of that haze in the background. There we go. Just bringing that into the trees. Maybe that's some grassy field, but there's dew on it in the morning. As I said, this picture was interesting, but I don't know the whole story behind it. I just know it had a beautiful tree. And there was a little house or something back there, but I'm not going to worry about that today. We're just putting that in. Now we're going to come and we're just going to put some other trees back here. We're going to put some closer trees. Maybe. What we'll do is we're going to get our liner brush. We're going to come into some of this, our Van Dyke brown. We'll just put some of that here. Grab some of that white. We're just going to make some soft tree trunk colors. And we're going to put a few smaller trees in before we come and we put our big tree in. So there we go. Now we're just going to take this color. We've got it really pretty thin. We're just going to come here and we're just going to put, let's put a tree right here. And he'll come down to it. These aren't real big trees right here. Another one right here. As it gets closer, you just press that brush a little harder and it'll get a little wider at the bottom. That's right. A little wider at the bottom. Kind of like Timbo Took through the years. There we go. Now you can fill this whole back area up with that. I'm not going to spend all day doing that, but we just wanted some trees, something there. Something we could put in here. There we go. Bring that down. Maybe give it a branch or so, something coming out. Right back in there. There we are. We'll just put those in. We'll put some leaves on them. That guy comes up a little higher. That guy will come up a little higher. There we go. Now we've got some of those in. Just clean off that brush. Set it off to the side. Now we're going to come back just to our 1-inch brush again. Clean it off. That's right, beat the Sauron out of it right down in the rubbish bin. Now we want some dark leaves to go in the back. And what we'll do is we'll just take some of that midnight black, mix it in with that green we had. And we're just going to load that on the tip of the brush. And now we're going to put some leaves on here. These will be dark ones. These will be on the back of the tree. Right there. This one over here. There we go. We do the same right over here. Put that on the brush and come up. And just pop those in. There we are. These are just the trees that are in, or the leaves, excuse me, that are in the back. We just drop those in and we'll come back and we'll highlight them. There we are. And on this guy is a little taller. Got leaves that come up this way and that. There we go. Again, clean off that brush. Now let's go. Some of our sap green here. We're just gonna go let it mix in with the other there. So pop that on. Now we'll come here again and we're just finding those leaves. These are the ones that are more in front. In front of those other ones. There we go. You're not completely covering those leaves that are the dark leaves because those are in the back. You have to have both together. You can't just have light leaves. There wouldn't be any depth going on in your painting. So you use the contrast between both the dark and the light. Use that contrast to give it some depth. Otherwise, there wouldn't be much there. I'm just going to come with some titanium white, and we're just going to get a light green out of that. There we go. Just tap that into your brush, and we'll do the same. We'll come back and we'll highlight some of this. There we go. We're not getting crazy with those highlights, but we just want that's going to be catching that light that's out there in that morning sun. There we are. Give ourselves some trees there. Now, oh, there was some sort of wall right here. So let's come to our there we go. Come to our palette knife, and we're going to put a wall here. We got a couple things going on there, but let's get ourselves this stony, rocky color. We'll just take this Van Dyke brown into some of those colors we had going on. There we go. Now, what we want is we want to put this wall here. And it's kind of a crumbly wall, like it's been there for a long time. It's kind of been knocked down a bit. Looked like there was a bit of an entryway. So we'll just come up. Hopefully I'm not standing right in your way. Bring this here. There we go, and there was a beam that went right across the top right there. So you could see those had some shape to some crafted walls. There we are. And those kind of were crumbled down. So we just put that in right there. We'll come over, maybe there was, not maybe, there was, in the picture I saw anyways, there was something that was right here too. A wall that was right over here. And there were a couple people that were sitting on that wall. Like I said, I don't know the characters. I don't know the story. I know it's going to be different than the story I'm used to. There we go. And maybe there were some structures back here. We'll just put something in real quick there. Just using this up. There we go. Now again, this is just putting this down quickly. You can come back and you can take your time and you can make it so it's something that more closely to what you've seen. But for right now, we're gonna maybe darken this down a little bit. There we go. We're coming with a color we can put to make stones out of this wall. There we go. We're just gonna come here. Got my hand turned up like that. Hopefully I'm not in your way too much. These were some sort of beams here. And again, just coming, it's just a man-made or elf-made, I don't think dwarf-made. It's not underground. So we just put this in. We're just gonna bring this wall right down here. We can come back and, oops, grabbed a little too much of that brown that was underneath. If you pick that up, just wipe it off, come back, get some more of that highlight color for that rocky wall there. There we go. Just coming back, picking that up, and just come right here. There we go. And do the same over here. Just bring that down. There we go. And you can do some vines and things that are stuck all over this wall. Make it however you want. This is your story. That's what you do. When you have a place to create, you just make it what you can, make it your own. Just put that in. There we go. Come back down. Whatever that is back there. There was some sort of cabin, some sort of house, something back this way. But in the interest of time, we're just going to put this, we'll just put this building in like this. And let your imagination tell me what it is. Let your imagination just say, oh, that's a this thing or that. There we go. Now we can wipe off that palette knife. Now a way we can make these rocks, we can put some separation in there. You can just take your palette knife, drag it across and make some separation in there. See that? You're just scraping away, making them like bricks there. There we go. And these are stones. You can take your time and make them rounded edges if you want them to look more like stone. We'll make that look like hewed stone. There we go. Come back. Wipe that off. We'll do the same on this side. Just like that. Pull that paint off, just wipe it right off on your, there you go. And just remember, it's not perfect. It's been there a long time. There we are. And we'll come back and we'll put some grass in. Put some grass in. Let's do that. Let's clean off our 2-inch brush that we were using there. Just beat the Sauron out of it. That's right, that's right. So let's just come to some of this green. We're going to put that down. We're going to grab a bit of that yellow. We just want a nice grassy color here. Just load that up on your brush. Now we'll come down and let's just put some grass in. Grass goes back that way. Get some more. Just lean your brush. Take your brush like you're straight on and then lean it down and just use the side of it. That'll give it that appearance that that grass is coming up. There we go. There we are. And quickly you can just fill up your canvas. Just let that brush bounce back to you. Now let's get to the fun part. We have a few more things we could do, but let's really get to this tree. We want this big tree in here. So we've done all this work. Oh, let's come to our 1-inch brush. We're going to use that. We're going to put in this tree. That's right. We're going to come here. This was a very large tree, a very wide tree. So this will be the side right here. Just bring it right down this way. And then it'll have some roots and things. But I'm going to come all the way over here. We like this wide tree. Look at that. Look at that beautiful tree. Right down that way. There we are. Just fill that in now. Just using our Van Dyke brown. Just doing that wide trunk. Look at that tree. There we go. That is a fun tree. That is a fun tree, and maybe it even has come up this way. But maybe there's a branch that comes all the way out here. Right across like that. Right across like that. Bring that over this way. And we'll come back and we'll give some highlight and thing there. There we go. That's what I like. Just those arms from the tree that are reaching out over what's going on. Maybe there's one that'll come right here. Just like that. Then right behind him we have another one of those big ones that comes right out this way. There we go. And this tree just marches right up and off our canvas. There we are. Many parts to them, many big branches. There we go. Look at that. Look at that. That big guy there. Maybe he had one that came off this way. Right to the edge there. There we go. Look at that tree. We like these big trees. There we are. Some are in front, some are behind. There we go. We're just filling this in with branches. other trunks where that trunk is split off. And you're taking that, and you can take that, you can almost bring it to an edge. Sharpen that up. And then we'll come here. This is a very old tree. There we are. Let's bring one. It went all the way off. And then if you put a little more pressure, there we are. Look at that, look at that. There we go. Now we can even come to our smaller brush. That liner brush. Just put some on there. Now we can start putting some of these branches in. Some of those, look at that. Look at that. Another one here, and you can just pop these in with a little bit of speed if you want. Just come in there, come in here. This is a fun tree. Bring this guy right there. There we go. Like he has hands that are reaching out. Like they're big arms. Maybe at one time this was an ent and it had gone to sleep already. Maybe that happened. That's what I think every time I see a big tree, though. I think, oh, that tree looks like an ent. There we go. And this is what this painting was really about. Really about this guy. But now we've got him, and that's pretty flat tree. There's not much texture, not much going on there. So we want to come back and give him some shape. Give him some other things that are going on. There we go. There we are. And you could sit there all day and just put, you could sit there all day and put wave after wave, arm after arm, branch after branch. Now we're going to put some leaves on there. So let's say some of the leaves in the far back. Say they're a little more golden leaves. And we'll come in front of those then. On top of these ones, we'll put darker leaves. So these ones are in the back. These are leaves that are seeing the sun. We're just using this 2-inch brush, this big old 2-inch brush. Just popping those leaves in. There we go. Taking these leaves, and we'll come over with some darker ones then. Normally, a lot of times we're putting the darker leaves in the back, and then we highlight with the yellow or the gold. Just pop those in. There we go. There we are. So we've got those in the back. Now let's come and let's give some highlight on this tree here. Let's take some of our Van Dyke brown, mix it in, some of that titanium white. Maybe even grab a little bit of alizarin crimson. Let's mix that in there. Maybe even some sap green. And a little more of our Van Dyke brown. Just coming up with a color. We're just putting all kinds of colors in here. There we go. Creating this highlight brown for the tree. You have to pick it up and put it down again. Maybe a little more light, whiten that up. There we go. Now we're just going to come to our tree, and right here we'll pop in some of this. Just giving it some bark. There you go. Just putting that on real thick. Giving it texture. There we are. And over here, what we want to do is when you look at this painting, we want you to be able to feel like you see that bark coming right off the canvas. There we are. Just pop that in. If you have to, mix some more up. And we're just pressing that down. We're not pulling it across. A lot of times we make our trees rounded like that by pulling it across. This time I wanted this paint just to give us that thick appearance. So afterwards you look at that and it just gives texture to this tree. This tree deserves a lot of texture. There we go. Now it can take some time doing all this. You can take some time doing all this. It'll take a while, but that's okay. It'll be worth it. Maybe even a little bit of yellow ochre in there. Lighten that up with yellow ochre. Let's put that on this side. There we go. There we go. Got that yellow ochre on there, and we're coming to this side. And this will be just a little bit lighter on this side. And just hit the top of that. There we go. Just bring it, that texture right on the top. Let the bottom have that, carry that shadow for you. There we go. And we use a lot of paint like this. We're putting a lot of paint down on this canvas. This will take longer and longer to dry. The more texture, the more paint you put down like that, that one will take a bit longer to dry. But that's okay. That makes it fun. This will be a fun one to look at. You say, look at all those big limbs, all that bark on that tree. There we go. And that's what this painting was all about. It's about this tree, this grand old tree. Who is on the tree's side? Oh, I know who was on the tree's side. Professor Tolkien was on the tree's side, that's right. He loved the trees, and that's why he took so much time in his books talking about the trees. There we go. Whoops. I just scraped a bit of that tree with my palette. And there we go. Just giving that texture right down that side. Up here. There we are. Right down this way. And look at that. What a tree. What a mighty, mighty tree. What a mighty tree that is. And we still need to come back and put some dark leaves on this one. There we go. So we've got that in there. Just use your knife, put some of those roots coming down. There we are. Set that knife off to the side. Now we'll come. Let's go to some of this sap green. Some of that midnight black. And let's just make a leafy color there that we can pop right over these ones. So those are highlighted on the back of the tree, catching more of the light in the back. And these will be the leaves that are there in front. And there we go. Just pop that in. There we are. Now you have to be careful. You have so much paint on the trunk of that tree. You got to be careful about picking that up. But we still want to get these leaves in. So we just pop those right in like that. There we are. Right there. There we go. And let's put some over on this side. Right there. These are a little harder to see. We don't have those golden leaves behind them. There we are. Come up. And we do some there too. Bring it out. There we go. Now come to a little bit of that lighter green. And we'll pop some of that on. Let's wash that brush first. Now if we're having a little bit harder time getting our paint to stick, just thin it up a bit. There we go. Just get some of that paint thinner in there. And then you can pop that lighter color right over the top there. Let's come over on this side where you couldn't really see some of these. Right there. There we go. And again, some right there. There we are. So you can take all day and you can do that. But maybe we want to put a path. Maybe we want a path coming right through here. So let's come to some of that brown color. Let's lighten that up. Just getting the color there for our path. Maybe made it a little too light. But we want it to stand out enough, so. Just take that palette knife, and we'll just put this path in right here. Comes in from the outside world to this little courtyard here. Don't know what the conversation was. Don't know what's going on in the world around, but we just put that path in. That's right. We just put that path, just scrape that knife in. There we go. And that's pretty good. That's pretty good. We could come back if we wanted. You can put a vine that goes up this tree. So you can maybe come to some of this lighter color. This white. This will be our vine. Right there. Get that. So we have a vine that comes right out of the ground here. And it comes up our tree. And sometimes when you get all that thick paint, it can be a little harder getting that to stick. You just got to thin that out. Thin it out, and that vine can come right down here. Maybe it creeps over that way. There we are. Got our vine in there. Let's go to some of that green. We'll make those leaves on that vine green. And we put these leaves. There we go. That's the right texture. You just have to play with it sometimes. Just have to play with it till you get that right texture, that right color that'll actually show up. There we are. That vine is taking over that tree. And then we can come back and get some of that grassy color and put it at the foot of that tree, the base of that tree. There we go. Well, let's clean off that brush. Come back to this brush we were using for our grass anyway. Let's see about putting some in. There we are. Some of that grass right at the base of that tree. Right at the base of those walls. There we go. So they look like they've been there a long time. Been there a long time. There we are. Now, we're not quite sure all the story behind that tree. We're not sure quite what that tree has seen in its time. But we do know that it's a beautiful tree. That's really all there is to it. Oh, who's on the tree's side? We're on the tree's side, you and I. That's what we care about. All right, I appreciate you joining me. And if this was your first time, I appreciate you being here. Please hit that subscribe button, like the video, do all those things, and help me to paint more paintings. Goodbye, and God bless.